Um, Elwood, are you there? Oh, hello.
Hello.
It's me again.
I
Um,
I can see that.
yes, sorry. I sort of, I don't know. I feel like I've just sort of shown up at your door the last couple of times randomly. Um, this, I don't want to encroach upon your personal life with other things.
I mean, if I were disturbed by this, I would have said something. Did you need help with something, or
Good.
what can I do for you?
Um, yes, sort of. I'm hoping to move some boxes of belongings out of my office in the library and down to the new sort of workspace. And there's just a few, and I thought perhaps it would be easier if you were able to help. Obviously, you don't have to if you're busy or don't want to or anything. I just
No,
nearby. So.
I'd love to help. One moment, I
Oh,
just.
perfect. Yes, of course.
Here, I have
Yep.
a lot.
Oh, great. Oh, that's a lot of bread. That's almost as. Did you leave the box of bread on my doorstep?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was. I walked out this morning and there was just bread loaves. Um, they smell wonderful. I wasn't sure. There was just sort of a box, and I was a little bit on edge about it. But thank you
Yes.
for
In light
bread.
of, it may or may not have been quite. It was at the point of the night where it could be either very late or very early, so I may have forgotten to leave a note, and I see how that would have been disconcerting.
No, it's fine. Thank you, bread.
Of course.
Um,
Oh, and I also,
sure.
I
Yeah.
still have this. You forgot to take that back
Oh,
after the party and everything.
oh, thank you. Yes, I forgot that I gave it to you. Do you have your own armor and things here?
I have this.
Okay, perhaps I was. I was going to say, should we get you some more? But I'm not really in a position to do such a thing. Maybe we should talk to Peter or someone about that and try and get you something better. I can't claim to have collected my own armor. I sort of was given it.
I mean,
Yes, I was.
so far it's been. This is more than I've had for the majority of my life, really. So it is, statistically speaking, already an improvement.
I suppose that's true. Yes, better than nothing, certainly. Just with everything happening, it might be safer to find you something
Yes.
better.
Well, I also made this.
Oh,
It's not the sleekest, but it works.
I mean, if it would work, I would shoot. I'm sure it would. I mean, if you're used to using it, I'm sure it's better than the plethora of tools that I have that I'm really not very good with.
Well, truth to be told, the weaponry I am most used to is chucking rocks at things until they either leave me alone or die. Usually the former.
Fair enough. I can't really claim that I'm any better at things that I'm not exactly best at fighting. Vast had to show me how to hold a sword. When I was active, actually, it was their sword that I was pointing at them to hold them at knife point, and she instructed me on how to hold her at knife point, and that and it's not. Yes, I'm also not particularly experienced with weapons. Is what I was trying to say. Sorry.
You're all good. Every time I hear something about you and Vast, I get more confused and vaguely concerned.
This bread is very good. Sorry. Yes, it was. It's been a confusing and concerning relationship that we've had so far. It's been
Noted.
interesting. Yes.
Which involved you. I still don't fully follow up with what you said the other day.
So, wait, which part?
The part where you told Armor to tell the Viviana person that Vast boyfriend says hi. I whacked my hand on a branch.
Oh, you get.
Yes. Okay.
Well, obviously, what us and I aren't. That's not no. I'm. No. There was a thing. Vivian and was interrogating me, and then Vast saw and appeared and sort of got defensive and told back off. And Viviana asked if I was the one that Vast had talked about partner wise, and she just sort of said that yes, I was, and I had to go. I wasn't really going to say no at that moment in time, with the person who I was explicitly told they will kill you being 2 feet away pressing me against a door. So I sort of just went with it, and at the time, Viviana seemed to at least somewhat be under the impression that I was Vast's boyfriend.
I see.
Despite some comments about how I don't seem the type.
Well, that
which
seems
I can't use.
rude.
But no, it was just sort of I get the impression that Viviana is very protective of whatever relationship she may have had with Vast. And the idea that it was me who Vast was dating was not exactly flattering is not the right word. Not exactly what she expected. It threw her off, and I was trying to sort of be coy about it. I'm not really sure what to do in such a situation. I haven't really been in that sort of situation before.
To be fair, I hardly think anyone is used to a situation where you have to pretend to be someone's partner as their former partner from a strange cult confronts them.
Threatens them, yes. I was just sort of... The main goal was to not let her inside the building, for the most part.
Oh, that is fair. That is understandable.
It was mostly just about trying to keep her out, and I suppose it worked.
Well, that is the main thing.
Until she showed back up at the party, and everything went to shit. But
that is a succinct summary of the events.
Yes. But no, yes, I sort of fumbled a lot on both attempts there. I don't exactly have much of a basis to work off in terms of personal experience. But speaking of the other office, boxes.
Indeed. Is this all of them, many. Or?
I believe that this is all of them. That's all up here, sort of collected from the house and from the various floors of the library. Some of them are books, some of them are materials that Peter and I have sort of scavenged. Somewhere in here there is gloves and safety equipment, like you recommend.
Well, that's good.
Haven't really.
I do hope you've made sure to note which books you were taking from the catalogue.
Yes, I have a list that actually I need to get someone to go downstairs. I did have a list. I think there's a list somewhere.
I was joking.
Oh.
It was my poor attempt at humor.
No, I wouldn't say poor. I just it caught me off guard because I did the books that I took, so I.
Fair enough.
But yes, need to collect a couple. I should perhaps take the select turn. What are these? These ones here. Collection pass. I don't think I need flight crystal instruction manual. That might seem a little redundant. Hand formation. Grey Heron's anatomy, certainly. Bird flu 101. Yeah. Infectious diseases, certainly.
Yes.
Sorry,
Given the
rambling.
current situation.
Yes.
What is it with everybody here being apologetic for things that don't warrant apologies?
I don't know. I just sort of do it, I suppose.
I mean, it's not just you. It is every other person. Did you just jump again?
Well, I was perched, so I sort of dropped from the perch.
If you at some point,
I've bred to heal up.
if at some point you break an ankle, you know why.
I will take that into account. Yes. Kite and I was not expecting Kite and Prejudice to be on the shelf. Or Lord of the Rings, which this is not the shelf that I thought it was.
They should both have been
You're
under just novels.
They are Great Expectations. Wesley the Owl. This is not the shelf. Did I come with the wrong shelf? That's children's literature. Which one are you? Oh, that should certainly not be. No, that's not the children's literature section. I was about to say, it certainly shouldn't be the children's literature section.
Did someone misfile that particular book again?
No, that particular book is where it should be, over there.
Well, that is good. Because I most definitely remember removing it from this section.
Yes, I remember you. Other comprehensive history of diseases. How to crystallize a creeper, I feel likely is in there, but it also seems potentially useful. Curses and witchcraft. Regeneration, healing,
Witchcraft.
I sort of just set a bunch of them down on a shelf after I collected them because I was.
Fair enough.
I'm not entirely sure if this is a curse or a disease. I'm leaning towards the latter because that seems more likely. It seems vaguely biological, at least, and we sort of have a theory, Rune and I, about the axolotls and the spreading on Dante, but it's tricky.
Fair enough.
Ooh. No, enchanted weapons I don't think is suitable. But yes, we think that potentially because axolotls have a higher cellular regeneration factor, it may not be spreading as quickly, which may indicate that it is a form of sickness rather than
it might be. That is a logical conclusion.
Magical. It's sort of in that difficult point of I don't know how magic and biology necessarily intersect.
I mean, it depends on whether or not you consider magic just a science. There are many creatures behind you.
God, you want to stay there for a minute? I'll Oh god.
Oh goodness, goodness gracious!
I dealt with it.
You sure have. You say as you're being followed by several zombified creatures.
They're not infected with void sickness, at least.
Well, that is.
Unlike the creeper was. Oh, now I'm caught in a cobweb. It's fine.
Perhaps moving at night was not the smartest idea.
No, perhaps not. I'm sure it'll be fine once we get there. Oh, there's a spider as well. How about we run?
Good idea.
I like that plan. Oh, water. Oh, my wings. It's wonderful. Got chased
I
by
would
Squash as
fly
well.
if that were an option for me, and alas, it is not. I'm not entirely sure where I'm running.
Over here.
I have run the
somewhat.
correct
This
way.
way.
I've run the correct way. That's the main thing.
Oh, this is a new path to a new house I haven't seen before.
I picked up a flower. That was not.
Oh, that's nice.
That was
It was a time, certainly.
nothing to wake you up
these
like a
books in here.
morning run away from monsters.
Yes, exactly. That one I can take downstairs. On. Just like the creeper can stay up here. So I need to just momentarily stash away some books.
Why does this say something about robots?
It's was an incorrect theory. Your theory is a strong word. There was some evidence. I thought perhaps that Rune could have been an automaton of some kind. Saying it out loud to Rune's face in a rather accusatory manner.
You did
Felt
what?
a little bit foolish. In my defense, most of my reason, all of my evidence was correct. I was right about a lot of things, but the conclusion to be taken from those things that he is a robot is incorrect. I can
see.
confirm that he is not a robot.
Well, it was not a concern I had, but it's good to know that that is something not to be concerned about, I suppose.
Yes. The realities of it are much more complicated than we're going to taken up board. There's an entirely new faction of elements that I need to find room for. I don't entirely know about, so...
Well, if you remove the incorrect robot hypothesis, there's room down there, and...
Yes, I think room down there is probably my best bet. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing up there. It's been blank for... And I keep leaving it blank, expecting to find...
Yes, I was about to ask
something
what
there.
the Phoenix's bit is about, but I don't think that takes priority around right now.
I don't really know. I just know that Gavrin is convinced that she is part of a prophecy to resurrect phoenixes. I don't know. And it bugs me that I don't know, because it seems nonsensical, but everyone like it makes sense.
It does seem bordering on nonsensical, but then again,
it does, but at the same time,
fairly recently I believed obelisks to be
exactly
works of fiction, so
I thought that they were fake, and then it turns out they're not fakes, and so now I'm wondering if phoenixes are real, and if there is a prophecy. And if there is a prophecy, then how do we get prophecies? Prophesize it. What determines the prophet? I could be a prophet. Probably not. I got a lot of things wrong by the sea. Nobody's a robot. Sorry, I'm going a bit of a tangent. Have
you had coffee
I haven't
by
slept
chance?
much of late. Quite a bit. I haven't slept much of late. It's been keeping me going while I packed. Anyway, bookshelves.
Yes.
Do mind the
indeed.
hole in the floor.
I mean, how
Rune and
else
I
do you get down to a cellar?
Yes. Rune and I sort of put this together the other day and had I believe the words that he used was a slumber party.
A slumber party
here.
in a laboratory.
I wouldn't say it's a laboratory. It's more of a
Study, then.
study, a workshop, I believe was the term he used.
Virgil,
What's in this? Yes.
what the actual hell is this?
It's a potential biohazard.
Yes, I can read.
Okay, that is, where we are storing this.
You just put it behind glass and behind a trapdoor, and then had a
Yes.
slumber party next to it.
I suppose. Actually, when we first set up the sleeping bags for Slumber Party, there wasn't a trapdoor, but the eye was very disconcerting without it. It sort of feels like it follows you in a way, and it's not particularly pleasant. So we put it up there.
Fair enough. Very.
Put a warning on it. We
That certainly is a choice.
Yes, we've got to go about trying to test it still. Actually, speaking of, that's going to make what I'm about to do sound dangerous. It's not. Speaking of potential biohazards, by which I mean speaking of the creepers, I do have the essence that we collected at the time of the Halloween party to compare to regular substances. I don't have any signs on me, but I should have plenty hidden. Yeah, hold on a moment, sorry. But yes, we can put the wherever, I suppose, wherever there's room. This is sort of mine and Rune's space now, but I can clean things up before he needs it for anything. I do appreciate you helping bring them down here. I have more things than I thought I did.
Yes, you do have quite the stack of...
I'll unpack those. It'll be fine.
If you say so.
Infected essence specimen number 1. And then I simply...
Is specimen really spelled with 2 eyes?
I don't know.
It looks vaguely incorrect.
It does. I'm going to check this on my communicator very quickly.
I already checked it on my communicator, and it is in fact specimen. Don't mind me.
Yes, it's fine. I'll fix it. Thank you for catching that, Elwood.
All good.
As you can tell, that's not how you spell it either.
I can't.
There you go.
I can't provide much help with the actual research, but I can spell check.
Just spell check. I appreciate it. Honestly, you might be more than enough help compared to anyone else. At least you have experience with academic research to an extent. Rue and I have been discussing how no one here is exactly the right kind of scientist for this.
You are talking to the person who researches myths.
I
do believe I'm also the wrong kind of scientist.
Well, yes, but, you know, I research history, and Rune makes robot dogs, and I don't entirely know what happened. I guess armor is technically has some level of biological knowledge, but it's exactly what we need.
Yes, and well, considering armor's history, what little I know of it, I don't know if I would ask him.
No,
with help on
I prefer
experiments.
not to, unless I have to.
Understandable.
Most of my research is observational, so that's what we're going with.
Well,
Testing.
You have to start somewhere, and observation is a large part of most sciences, in some way,
Yes.
shape, or form.
On the subject of, how are you feeling?
In general, or
In any sense, I suppose. Not I mean, if there's something emotionally, I suppose like we can,
No,
do you want to talk? I didn't mean it like that, but if you
no, it was just a very
need to, I just
uns-
sorry, it's
it was
very
just a
opening
very
ended question.
unspecific. It was a very unspecific question. If you mean in relation
Physically.
to being whacked in the face by a withered up strange skeleton, then I'm fine.
In so many words, that's a good. No, you're not haven't been feeling sick or weakened in any way.
Not that I can think of. There was some
That's-
bruising on my face a bit ago, but it's faded. Nothing
Yeah,
beyond that.
That's good. That's good. We weren't really sure. There was a few people who took harder hits than others. I don't want you to fall ill with this and to not know about it. I suppose.
Yes, that would be rather inconvenient, I suppose. Can't well
Yes,
be useful to people if incapacitated.
Yes, exactly. I was make sure you're okay. For the most part.
I appreciate it.
Yes, I will. I'll note that down as well. Monitoring things. I feel like I've talked a lot. How have you been of late?
You mean aside from the stress baking?
Yes, I suppose. And aside from the being, as you put it, whacked in the face by a withered creature.
Well, honestly, not a whole lot has happened since Mojave now finally has a house that I helped
that's nice.
them decorate. They insisted on me having a room there, so now there are 2 rooms that are assigned to me that have an abundance of frivolous things and blankets and pillows and such in it, which is objectively 1 more than is necessary.
Well, I mean, sometimes frivolous things are nice.
I'm starting
I
to learn that.
suppose. Would you don't have to obviously if you wanted, if it seemed too frivolous, but there is now sort of a large office space in the library that's left vacant. Would you want an office space to do your research on folktales and myths and anything else? Just
I mean, I wouldn't want
place for your-
to. I wouldn't want to take over what was, yours. I wouldn't want to be
No,
leeching
it's
off of you and
definitely fine.
Pietro more than I have been.
No, you're not leeching at all. It would be very nice to know that the space is still being used, that I'm not wasting. There's quite enough void around without me adding to it by creating spaces that nobody can use or go into. Actually utilize. Feels far more pointless than any frivolities just having, space being wasted.
Fair enough. Well, if it's not, imposing or anything, then I'd appreciate it. Mo actually kind of nagged me about it.
Oh?
Yes,
What part?
well, so their wings healed up again, and they took that chance to not have to walk up to the library and had me, show them around and things, and somewhere between them insisting that we should have family dinners weekly, which I think is too much time to spend with my very annoying sibling, and just a bunch of other topics. They nagged me about how, you have an office space at the library and Pietro does, and how I don't have one, and how that seems like a weird choice on my part. So
I don't know about a weird choice. You would later to our library team than Peter and I were, but if you would like it, it would be nice to know the space is being used.
well, then I am happy to accept. And to be fair, I think Mojave was also just nagging me for the sake of nagging me.
Siblings do often do that.
Yes,
I think older siblings like to know that they have power to. Sometimes. That sounds mean. I meant that to joke.
Well, to be fair, I don't think I fully realized that they considered their and my relationship the same way I did, so...
Oh. I see.
It's whatever, it's nothing. Just, I've been given a lot of things to think on these past few days.
Yes, I can certainly relate to that. Yes, if there's anything in this chest of leftover materials that you might want in the office, you can feel free to grab some, or...
Goodness, this sure is just...
I went a bit overboard. I wasn't sure how big we were planning to make this.
A bit.
That wall with the
You
bookshelf.
say as there are crystal dust and potion materials?
That, I think, Rune brought back later. We'd
enough.
sort of discussed
I would have
creating...
asked how you got that.
That's not mine, yes, no, that... I don't entirely know where Rune... I believe it is for the use of making regeneration potions. To test the theory, we want to try and... If we're working with the theory that it is biological and spreading cellularly, possibly, I think, through the circulatory system, because it seems to be spreading extremities inwards. We want to try using regeneration potions effects on the creepers, see if it will do anything.
That seems very smart, actually.
Yes, but I'm not really the best with potions, so we're sort of relying on Rune and potentially Taliesin to deal with that. Although I can't say I've really spoken to our resident magician much.
Magician. That's another...
I believe that's...
Did you know apparently they are Mojave's former partner?
Oh!
Yes, they were...
No, I did not.
Apparently not on good terms either. If their
I'd
tone
heard
was
that
anything
part,
to
that they-
indicate of.
They were not exactly on the best of terms. I believe Mojave made some very unsavory comments about the flamingo when I asked if that was who Arma was.
Did they now?
Or someone. I was just getting a bunch of names and being told
Fair enough.
the flamingo
they
in
have
the van,
been-
and they said, no, that's someone else.
Yes, if there's one thing to know about Mojave is if there's a person who has ruined their relationship with them, usually they have thoroughly ruined it. I don't know
that's-
exactly what transpired between them and Taliesin, but they are
Well,
not particularly happy about them being around, from what I could tell.
I see. That's certainly good to know. I will try to not ruin whatever relationship I seem to have formed for now.
I'm sure that
That's-
whatever is, I'm sure it is fine.
I hope so. I think that we're friends, somewhat.
I still
sorry, I got
mean
distracted by what books Peter has.
you're all good.
Sorry.
What did I say about over apologizing?
Yes, I yeah, yes. I caught myself there. See? I'm getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the pizza
Certainly.
has equipment we can steal. Why? There's so many eggs.
Well, you
Oh.
did say that your brother has or had a knack for
That is true.
that.
Oh, the
does
amount of ways that
explain-
you could cook these eggs.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I got used to a lot of ways to cook eggs. I don't think I would cook these ones. These all seem to have a very high chance of a guaranteed chance of bird.
Yes,
Um,
perhaps don't cook the baby
perhaps not.
birds. I think that would
No,
be
I just sort of
both
when I was in
morally
hiding for a while.
questionable and
Yes.
might invoke your siblings' wrath.
Yes, I think so. When I was in hiding, the crows would bring me eggs, and it was sort of the only food that I for a while. I got very good at cooking eggs. I make a very mean omelet.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
I mean,
Oh, they do have supplies that we can steal. Perfect.
I do.
This box here.
Supplies to steal, huh?
We're just going into the same office. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, if they get mad at me, I will just point them towards you as
I'm
the
sure
main
that
thief.
works fine. That'll be okay. I'll deal with it at some point. I haven't seen them around in a while.
Yes,
it's
you
a bit
mentioned that you
busy.
couldn't find them before the party as well.
Yes. I think they're just busy more than anything. Trying to look for more books for the collection.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
They'll keep me in a
They
job at
unbox these
least,
things.
as
Yes.
the
Hopefully.
more books get brought in, the more I get to do.
Exactly. Well, nice to have you around longer. Yeah, there's some barrels that I can put my things into as I'm moving them out.
So you've been.
Sticks.
So when you were in hiding, you were just eating one food.
Well, mostly. Sometimes I would have seeds. There was some fish that lived in the stream that sort of trickled down to the.
Fair enough.
I tried grinding some hay into flour. It did not work.
That might have been because
So-
it was hay and not wheat.
I just didn't have any wheat on me. I sort of only had.
Well, hay is just grass. I don't know what.
No, but you can. It's. I don't know what exactly expected. I was very hungry, so I sort of
Fair enough.
was just sort of doing what I could.
I mean, I don't know how far
Yes.
I get to judge, considering my diet tends to consist of a lot of bread and a lot of potatoes.
Well,
Another thing Mojave has
Starchy, yeah.
thoroughly nagged me for.
that one I can maybe see the reasoning for. It does seem,
Well, it's.
I suppose, still better than eggs.
I mean, it's predictable. The texture is usually the same once you've figured out how specifically to make something, and if it's not, there's not usually something unsuspected.
Very fair. I forgot I had so many crystals that I grew.
Goodness gracious.
I don't entirely know what to do with them all anymore.
Perhaps you can
It was a much
sell them
simpler
to
time.
the resident sewist and see if you can make a profit out of it.
It's very true. If I can ever find them, they seem to be a bit elusive these days, considering how flashy and sparkly their plumage is.
Yes, I have to probably see about talking to them, since I don't think I can get Mojave to give back my binder. I'm fairly certain they've
Yeah.
destroyed it.
I'm sorry, that's a shame.
But to be fair, there were rips in it. The
I
goddamn
suppose it would have
pelican.
been nice to have sort of.
The pelican dropped another egg.
Oh, again. Listen, it's fine. It's Peter's. I'll. Perhaps if you're also here, it would encourage
Perhaps.
move it.
Perhaps. Or I'll just I mean I've gotten used to your ravens around.
Oh,
I will say I still don't know which
Yes,
one is which
so-
cawing sound, so I usually just nod at them.
No, that's fair. Usually coming into the library, the one on the right is "oh," and the one on the left is "oh," which is sort of, obviously the inverse when you're going back down. That's normally where they like to sit. Why they like? They
I
just sort of do.
don't know if my throat can make those noises. I'm going to be very honest. I
It's
might
also
I
quite
might
fair.
I might just
Um,
stick to nodding and saying hi to them in
That's
regular
fair. I'm sure they appreciate it.
person sounds.
Might take down some of these.
Well, they matter to you, so I figured best to be friendly to them.
Oh, I
And they are
I
residents
appreciate
here.
it. I'm sure that they appreciate it as well. They're very chatty at times.
I believe that just
Quite
comes with the
personalities, those two.
species.
But yes, that's true.
Sorry, I'm just sort of standing around. I'm not sure if you needed help with
Oh, it's
that,
okay.
and
I
also
mean-
I don't know where the things go.
No, it's all right. Well, if you would like, there's the box of materials there. You sort of, if you wanted to decorate it, however you would like. Your space now, I suppose. You could
Goodness.
do as you wish. Where should I put that? There. Would you like me to leave the flower pot? I don't I don't know if you have a favorite flower. I suppose I haven't asked.
If I were
Not
to,
this is mine necessarily.
I mean, if I were to stick to my usual answer, I would say something along the lines of how flowers are frivolous and having a favorite flower is redundant and such. But
That's fair.
Lily of the Valley is nice, I suppose. If I had to pick one.
Perhaps we can find one at some point. I'll leave the vase there and take some of the wilting alliums out. I'm not entirely sure where they came from because they weren't mine. So
Well, someone must have left them. Who are the most likely candidates? If it wasn't you, it would be either your brother or
it would
Aaron,
probably
I believe.
be. It could be. I don't know.
From what Mojave said, she has a knack for flowers. That's another thing.
Yes,
Apparently,
true.
Mojave knew them before coming here, which leads me to believe that
Oh.
my sibling just knows everyone.
I was going to say, it certainly seems like it. There's a lot of people to know.
Yes, a lot of
Didn't they also know Armor and Allison?
yes. It's from my understanding, Armor they didn't know before arriving here. They just met here. I'm not entirely sure.
I see.
I'm blaming it on them being so damn freaking sociable. It's like
I suppose that
they and I
makes
are not biologically related, but if we were, they would have
sense. No.
gotten all the sociable part of the genetic material, and I got all of the stickler rule liking parts.
That's fair. I mean, Pizarro and I are sort of evenly split. I tend to seek out company more, even if elegant with social interactions as Pizarro is,
Well, you are
being
doing.
far better at it.
I mean, you're doing better than a certain starling who has walked into a library and proceeded to yell at everybody within reach about the state of chaos around.
I suppose, to be fair, it was left in quite a state of chaos. One of the librarians had locked himself in a cave for 2 months, and the other one was busy worrying about it.
I mean, a cave is still better than. I don't know. There's certainly something that is worse than a cave, I presume.
I'm sure, yes, probably something.
Chances are that there usually is something that is worse, statistically speaking.
Certainly one way to look at it. But, no, for all their social skills, I think that Peter tends to prefer being alone all the time. Hence, their trips off to find books.
Understandable. And to be fair, when you're alone, people can't bother you. I feel like I'm just adding more bookshelves to a space that is already crowded with books. That seems
well, if you need more
predictable.
bookshelves,
I believe it's
sometimes
it's
you
good.
just need more shelves to put books on, you know?
I mean, certainly if you're researching stories and such.
Yes, exactly. How do you feel about the texture of carpets, typically?
I don't think I have particularly strong opinions in either way. They're
fair.
I suppose they're nice. They maintain that pelican.
As we can push him out of the way, he's sort of just by the stairs staring at.
Yes, it is a
You go over here.
it is a tad concerning.
Why don't you have a name? You just live here. You don't pay rent either. You're just there.
I wasn't aware that there was rent to be paid.
There's not, but for this one, I might consider it. I don't think the eggs count, despite how many of them there are. All
Fair
the time.
Well, since we
so
were
I don't know
on
how
the since we were on the topic of carpets, I suppose I can just adhere to
moss.
the species I am, and traditionally a lot of starlings put moss and flower petals on their nests.
I believe there was flower petals back in the office. I could go and get you some if you would like.
No, it's alright.
Cherry blossom. Oh, of course. The cherry blossom petals.
Yes, I have some holes in the floorboards of my house that they are just ever so slightly growing through.
I see. Like it. It's a loom in the box. I'll be honest, I'm not exactly the best weaver myself.
The only weaving I do is
I mean,
usually if there's a hole in one of my items of clothing that can't be fixed with just sewing, then usually.
I was about to say the only weaving you do is tails, and I was going to say that very...
That might have been a bit cleverer of a response, but no.
I think the response was very clever either way. Yes.
See, as a mythologist, I don't do the weaving of the tales, I just write down what other people have been weaving before. I suppose.
Still in the same field, I suppose. Same pathway to get to the telling of stories.
I suppose. And it's... I mean, historically, it's not. There were these...
No, I suppose.
I'm not sure where I know this from. Might have been the encyclopedia that I had as a child, not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But there were actually a few cases of people writing down fairy tales that they collected, and over the course of that becoming known as the authors, even though they objectively were collectors, not authors.
Well, who knows, perhaps at some point a collection of Cudgel's fairy tales will be sitting somewhere in a library.
I'm not sure. Perhaps. That is for the future to determine.
Yes.
Unless you want to make it a race, which one will happen first? A a medical research journal written by you and Runthian, or tales written down by me.
I think you would certainly win that one. I'm quickly discovering that medical fields aren't exactly my favorite area to dig into.
But as circumstance demands, right?
Yes, unfortunately. I know I cleared all of this stuff out, but if there's anything that you wanted, I'm sure it could
Goodness, you have...
fit back in the space.
That is truly an abundance of crystals.
Yes, the magically charged crystal, which, in hindsight, I now know was obelisk, said the magic was potentially charging the crystalline structure's growth.
That
Even when
makes
removed
sense.
from that area, it still grew at a rather... I sort of had to keep
Fair enough.
harvesting it.
You might... This one has a violin and a sword in it, and a knife.
That's
I
fine.
believe you might
That
want to
was
take
just
those.
those were just the things that I was carrying, and I needed someone to...
Fair enough. Just...
Yeah, I'll grab those out.
I didn't know you played an instrument.
Oh. Yes, I play the violin. I have for a while. I'm a little bit out of practice. I sort of didn't have access to one for a long time while Pizza, but I found one of late and I've been trying to get back in.
Fair enough. Well, my sibling does have a theater, which, knowing them, they
I've
already
been told.
told you to play there.
Oh yes,
They've been
I've been
very
invited
excited
to
about it.
a talent show, I believe was the wording used.
Oh, goodness, of course. Oh, goodness.
I have no other details other than that they wanted to.
Yes, they've
So-
been... 4 years ago, they had a pattern of fixing up broken down theaters, and all they could ever talk about was one day owning their own theater. And one of the things they insisted they would be running over and over were talent shows and competitions and the like.
Mhm.
They did try to rope me into it, but I'm afraid the musical talent is more theirs than mine.
Certainly fair enough. It's not always the easiest thing to lean into.
Yes, and I believe we've established to maybe abundance my stance on frivolities.
Mm.
I mean, I've been rethinking
Perhaps.
some of that, but just
Still.
patterns stick.
Yes, of course. For what it's worth, I do think perhaps you oversell your dislike of frivolities and stubborn nature to others when you speak of it. You're not as stubborn about things as you claim. Or at least not that I've seen.
Well, this either speaks for my bad judgment of myself or to you and I not having been around each other enough for you to see the full extent of it. And I'm not sure which one it is.
Fair enough, yes. I suppose it will have to remain to be seen in that case.
I
I
suppose.
mean, at least at the moment, I'm sort of planning to stick around. You've got an office now. You sort of got to stay for a little bit.
I suppose. How dreadful, truly. How dreadful the thought of having to stay in a library that I spent over a month sorting around people who actually can stand to be around me for longer periods of time.
It sounds like torture, surely. Having to be around others.
You changed the sign.
Yes. I thought it's fitting now. I mean, you can always change it if you'd like.
No, it's as strange as that may sound. Apart from my notebooks, I don't think I've ever seen my name written down somewhere in permanence and such. I mean,
Well, now it is. The office is officially yours, Mr. Kershaw. For all your researching needs, certainly. Plenty of space to get lost in.
I would respond with the same appropriate level of titles and such, but I don't think I know if you have a last name, so I can't well do that.
Well, not really. I used to tell people that it was Corvus.
Really?
Yes, because I just sort of wanted to have. But in truth, no, I don't think that I really have a last name.
Well,
Just sort of Virgil.
I found that having a last name only really means something if it connects you to people. I'm not fully sure why I hang on to mine, if I'm being honest.
Well,
considering the people it came from had no care for actually keeping me around. I'm not sure why I'm keeping the name around.
Well, I suppose it's not really theirs anymore, is it? It's yours. You're the one who's taken it up and used it, carried it around. At this point, there's barely anything of theirs left on it.
I don't think I ever looked at it from that angle.
I mean, if there's nothing of them attached to it, it's just sort of belongs to you. But I think so. At least I am.
You do have a point.
Personally, I'd be hard pressed to imagine anyone else with the name. So
Fair enough. Corvus, though, really?
I was like 12 when I picked
All
it,
right.
and
Okay.
I'd sort of told
That
I'd sort of
explains
told too many people, and I couldn't like change it because I said it was my last name. So I'd sort of
So changing your first name is acceptable, but last name, that is where the
Well,
line is not
I guess
to be
the last name I could change it, but it sort of didn't end up needing to. Well, left.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
First name changes were enough of a hassle.
That just really just depends on how many people you need to convince of using a different name.
Yes, that's true. Well,
I found that if people already struggle to remember what name you're going by in the first place, it's quite easy. Just sneak into an office or two, write down a different name. Next time there's a roll call, they just read down the names and don't even flinch an eye when one name has changed from what it was to an Elwood. As long as someone yells here when the name is called, they're satisfied.
I suppose. Yes, you're probably right in that circumstance. I sort of just had a lot of nosy patrons of Giovanni's library that liked to be on friendly terms with the young library. It took a while to adjust, but I don't believe those.
To be honest, that sounds perhaps like more of a hustle, as you said, but also does sound nicer than just nobody even noticing. If you're just a name on a list, that can be quite... It's a lot of existential dread to put on a 10-year-old, at any rate.
I can imagine, yes. I'm sorry about that. That it sort of had to carry that weight with it.
I mean, it was a long time ago, and it's not like, as depressing as that might sound, it's not like I expected anybody to notice particularly. And by the time I, found people who actually cared to know me and not just a name on a paper, it was already very firmly my name. So I suppose, I don't know what I'm supposing.
No, I think you've supposed correctly. I get what you mean. But I mean, at least, here there's certainly enough people that care about it being on in, care about you being around.
I'm starting to learn that, yes. It is a strange concept, but I'm starting to learn it.
Yes. I imagine it would be. That it's not.
Well, if that's the only struggle to face, then I suppose I can deal with it.
Yes. I mean, it would certainly be nice if that was the only struggle happening around.
Yes, well, apart from the
Everything.
Yes. Where does one begin these days?
Yes. At this point, it's becoming harder and harder to keep track, but hopefully we can make it less of a struggle as time goes on.
Hopefully. I mean, I'm sure between you and Runthian and whoever else might be recruited to work in that little laboratory, office, study space, I have faith that solutions for at least some of the problems can be found.
Yes, I hope so. I suppose I sort of meant that hopefully we can make it easier for you to settle in.
Oh.
And
well,
be welcome. It is getting a bit late again. We've spent the day moving them.
Perhaps you might want to consider actually sleeping and not downing more coffee.
Yes, I'll try my best. I'll let you get settled into the new office. So,
thank you.
I'll see you later. Of course, anytime. If there's ever anything you need, just let me know.
Will do. And that goes both ways, understood? Whether it's boxes to move or signs to spell check.
I'll let you know, certainly.
All right.
I'll see you in a bit, Elwood.
Good night.
Good night.